Welcome to Sinkowitz, hosted by the fearless Linda Sinkowitz. She's syncing you up with the latest in election integrity, from breaking headlines to critical updates you won't hear anywhere else. With Linda, it's facts first as she leads the fight for one vote for one legal voter. Stay informed, stay empowered. Let's jump in.
Hi, and welcome to Sinkowitz. My name is Linda Sinkowitz. I am the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. You're watching us on OBBM Network TV. So thank you to everybody who's watching and listening. So this week, we are going to be talking about 6 states, and those states are Arizona, Georgia. We got a double thing on Georgia. Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Texas, and there's always stuff to be talking about in Texas right now. Then we're going to go to our national information, and then we will go to our vote notes, and at the very end, we have our trivia question. So this week, we are going without a guest. It was Labor Day weekend, and things have been crazy around here, but we have a fabulous guest that's coming on next week on our program. So you get to listen to me the entire time. Sorry. All right, so now I'm going to go to Arizona. Arizona, the source is from America First Legal, and this is from August 25th. America First Legal fights back against unprecedented attack on election integrity in Maricopa County. Now, one of the things that I have to put in here is the fact that I tell you that I get stories from both the left and the right. And occasionally there are some stories that lean way in a particular direction. And honestly, this one actually leans way right. It's our first way right one, really. But I tried to kind of cut down on a lot of the information in here and kind of get straight to the facts. But honestly, I agree 100% of what America First Legal is saying and has done. So America First Legal, AFL, filed 2 bombshell legal motions on behalf of Maricopa County Recorder Justin Heap, exposing abuse of power by government officials determined to sabotage election integrity efforts. See what I mean? Motions in Maricopa County Superior Court reveal how the Board of Supervisors and County Attorney Rachel Mitchell have weaponized county government against duly elected recorder Justin Heap for just doing his job. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors launched what appears to be a deliberate sabotage campaign against Recorder's Office just before Hemp came into office. The board seized control of the Recorder's Office of servers, databases, and websites that are essential for conducting elections, holding the county election infrastructure hostage. The board removed nearly all election-related IT staff. Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell had an ethical conflict of interest since the offices are between 2 different election officials, and she didn't recuse herself. Honestly, that's a bit of a problem. Now, Maricopa County is one of the 2 counties that actually run their own elections, separate from the rest of Arizona. There's 15 counties, and it's Pima County and Maricopa County run their own. Maricopa County is the biggest county in the state of Arizona. And what they're basically saying is all the tools for the recorder to be able to do their job, everything's pretty much been taken away, which absolutely is a problem. And it's the fact that America First Legal had to step in and defend Heap when it should have been the county attorney, or recusing herself. She chose a side, and she chose the supervisor of elections. Bad girl. Bad, bad. So now we're going to go on to Georgia. This is from the University of Georgia on August 25th, 2025. And the second part of this is from the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, from August 27th, 2025. Georgia cancels 471,000 voter registrations amid data cleanup. 471,000 were canceled as of Friday. 5,500 responded to notification letters or verifying their name for their information online. So the Secretary of State has also put out an update where it's Raffensperger continues summer election integrity audit with cross-state data accuracy mailing. So they're doing a combination of things right now in Georgia, which every state should be doing. So Georgia's election division, which is the GED, mailed out 27,450 cross-state notices through their secure multi-state listing sharing agreement. Now, Georgia has a sharing agreement with 25 states plus the District of Columbia. So that's at least with half the country, they have an agreement that basically if some of my people are on yours and some of yours are on mine, the newest one stays, the oldest one gets taken off. That's usually the rule of how this goes. But they're still missing 25 states. So with these 27,000 people, they were given a 40 calendar day notice before any changes are going to be made to their registration status, which means you got to get back to your election officials in Georgia if you're still in Georgia. But if you move to Texas, you got to get off the Georgia voter rolls. So either way, you should at least be complying and saying, hey, I no longer live there. That would be really helpful in cleaning the voter rolls. So Georgia right now is ranked number 2 by the Heritage Foundation list for election integrity. So Georgia's doing a really good job. Everybody can do a lot better. And as most of you saw last week's show, we had Gary Myers from the Myers Report on, and the United States is doing terrible as far as election integrity compared to other countries around the world. But I'm glad Georgia is stepping up right now. Every week we talk about the Department of Justice. This week we're talking about Illinois, and this is from ABC Eyewitness News on August 26, 2025. The Department of Justice demands Illinois voter personal information. Well, you know which way this one's going. Okay. So the Department of Justice is continuing to press for unredacted voter registration databases, which includes, quote, sensitive personal information. The sensitive information that they're talking about could be the last 4 of your Social Security, or it could be your driver's license number. That's the, quote, sensitive information they're talking about. Now, the Department of Justice attorney, Michael E. Gates, in the Civil Rights Division, rejected the Illinois State Board of Elections request for additional time to research legal issues. Quote, the election form for the Illinois voter registration list already exists and can be easily transmitted to the Justice Department by following the instructions on it was the July 28th letter, Gates wrote. Quote, the legal authorities presented by the Justice Department for the transmittal of the VRL are clear. Having said this, we'll extend the time to respond for Illinois to September 1st. What is so difficult for the states to understand? The Department of Justice, the Civil Rights Division, is looking into every single state because we all know we've got issues. And because we have federal elections, they can ask for this information. Although the states run the elections, there are federal laws that need to be complied with, including HAVA, which is the Help America Vote Act, and the NVRA, which is the National Voter Registration Act, or more commonly called the Motor Voter Act. And in case most of you don't realize what the Motor Voter Act did, was it allowed your motor vehicle department to register you to vote. As far as I'm concerned, that was a big mistake. Big mistake. Because there's all kinds of issues. And depending upon how the states are actually doing it, or whether it's through AAA or some outside source, that it has to go to another person. And ultimately, every one of these registrations goes to your election officials. Why don't you just go right there? Why do you have to have all these other ways of sending it in? I know here in Connecticut, they wanted every single Connecticut department to be allowed to register people to vote. I remember Dominic Rapini, when he was running for Secretary of State a couple years ago, actually said, why don't you have, the sanitation department register people to vote? It's not under their purview either. But this is something that really needs to be gone through. And with the Department of Justice asking for the information, they need it to actually make reforms to make sure only U.S. citizens are voting. We don't need people from other countries voting in our elections. And I don't understand what the problem is with every time a state comes up with a law to reinforce the laws that are on the books, you always have people suing. Oh my God, the litigation is just ridiculous. Mark Elias from the Democrats, I mean, he's like in every state suing over every little thing. Come on, let's get this right. Give the Department of Justice, Civil Liberties Department, the information they're requesting. It's for our benefit. Really it is. Okay. I guess I got off on a little commentary on that end. And I'll tell you right now, we're going to go to a quick break and we'll be right back.
Infamous ballot drop box.
Wanda's been arrested.
Around the world, people are aware of Wanda the ballot stuffer.
When fraud cancels you.
3 other Bridgeport Democrats were charged.
It's outrageous.
Take the freedom of our vote.
You gotta fight.
We're supposed to have quick justice.
Linda Sinkowitz is the election integrity watchdog in America's corner. Digging into the data to scrub the voter rolls clean, protecting your rights, respecting our Constitution. For years, Linda's mission-driven advocacy has helped preserve the Republic, exposing corruption.
The Chief State's Attorney's Office is not doing their job.
Speaking truth to power. It's pretty simple. One vote for one legal voter. FightVoterFraud.org.
Join the army.
And welcome back to Sinkowitz. My name's Linda Sinkowitz. Again, you are watching us on OBBM Network TV. So thank you to everyone out there. Michigan is our next state. And this is from Fox 2 in Detroit on August 25th. Online voting option coming soon for overseas Michigan military members. That's actually an oh, yes, if it's done right. So military members from Michigan who are stationed overseas will soon be able to vote elections online. Currently, military members can receive a ballot digitally, but they must return it via mail. It will change when a new secure voting portal is introduced. And this portal will be available to service members with permanent Michigan addresses when outside the country. This is expected to launch around September 15th, so stay tuned for more updates from the Michigan Secretary of State's office I know we're trying to get away from digital stuff, but when it comes to our military, there have been countless times that their votes have not been able to count. They have not come in time. They have not gotten, somehow the postal system from around the world doesn't get their ballots in, no matter how early they are able to vote. They are the only ones that should be an exception to the rule. As far as I'm concerned, they're risking their lives for our country. And the Oyukava votes, those are the people from overseas, because people who are American citizens can vote from other countries. But as we all know, in the 2024 election, there were many, many people that were enticed to vote that were not US citizens. They were told by some of the groups, some of the NGOs that are out there, pick a state, say you're from that state. You've had a number of states actually banning that and making sure that you are a permanent resident. But I'll tell you, having it for military only, the ones that are serving, I think is an excellent idea. Of course, that's just my opinion again. I guess every once in a while I have some opinions. Our next state, Ohio. And this is from NPR on August 26, 2025. Voting rights group sue over Ohio law requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote at their Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Big surprise, right? Big surprise. A law requiring Ohioans to prove their citizenship when registering to vote at their Bureau of Motor Vehicles is being challenged in federal court. Claims it violates the NVRA, the motor voter law. Suit is filed against the Secretary of State, that's Frank LaRose, and Charles Norman, who is the Registrar of Motor Vehicles, by Red, Wine, and Blue, a national left-leaning group aimed at suburban women. The Ohio Alliance for Retired Americans is also a plaintiff. They're represented by Columbus-based election law attorney Don McTeague, along with, drumroll please, Mark Elias. He's a Democrat lawyer who's filed dozens of election-related lawsuits across the country. Now, their claim is it makes it difficult for married women whose name is changed to be able to vote, for new residents, and for anyone that doesn't have easy access to citizenship documents. Honestly, boo-hoo-hoo, okay? It's not difficult. If you had your name changed because you got married, you would think you would have your marriage certificate, or you would have some other documentation showing that your name has changed because you were married. It's not that difficult. They are not making it so women who get their name changed because they're married can't vote. That's ridiculous. And if you're a new resident, you're bringing your information, because guess what? You know where you now live in that state. You have an address. You would have had mail forwarding. You would have had a bill or something come to your address so you can prove it's your address. Really? Come on. I think it's crazy. Okay. Texas. This is from the Texas Tribune from August 26, 2025. Bill giving Attorney General authority to prosecute election crimes ahead heads to Abbott's desk. The Texas House on Tuesday sent a measure to Governor Greg Abbott's desk that would let the Attorney General's office independently prosecute election-related crimes, years after the state's highest criminal court ruled that the office could not do so without an invitation from local prosecutors. So this is Senate Bill number 12, passed by members of the legislature's lower chamber, and it was 85 to 54. The vote for a constitutional amendment didn't get the required votes of 100 needed to reach the 2/3 mark. But this bill, the way this bill was done, is it amends the election code to give the Attorney General jurisdiction. This needed only a simple majority to pass, which it did. 85-54 passed. At issue is blue counties not prosecuting any election-related cases. Now, all these judges are not doing their jobs. That's why the Attorney General needs to have the authority, and they have an incredible election integrity group that works out of the Election Integrity Office there in Austin, Texas. So he should be able to prosecute. Well, the word shall, quote, shall, in a state statute says Attorney General shall perform other duties are required by law. So they put the word shall in there. I think it's excellent. You need to have the Attorney General be able to do his job or her job. I wish we had an Attorney General like Attorney General Paxton here in the state of Connecticut. Everybody can feel sorry for us. We have Attorney General Tong. And there's no way he would ever lift a finger for election integrity. Quite honestly, I got to tell you, try not to get political, but all he cares about is keeping us a sanctuary state, the illegals and everything else. He cares nothing about the citizens of Connecticut. So kind of live through the eyes of Texans that they actually have an attorney general who's effective. Our day will come. It will. Things are changing. All right, so right now we're going to go to another quick break, and we'll be right back.
Infamous ballot drop box.
Wanda's been arrested.
Around the world, people are aware of Wanda, the ballot stuffer.
When fraud cancels you.
3 other Bridgeport Democrats were charged.
It's outrageous.
Take the freedom of our vote.
You gotta fight.
We're supposed to have quick justice.
Linda Sinkowitz is the election integrity watchdog in America's corner. Digging into the data to scrub the voter rolls clean, protecting your rights, respecting our Constitution. For years, Linda's mission-driven advocacy has helped preserve the Republic, exposing corruption.
The chief state's attorney's office is not doing their job.
Speaking truth to power. It's pretty simple. One vote for one legal voter. FightVoterFraud.org.
Join the army.
Hi, and welcome back to Sinkowitz. My name's Linda Sinkowitz. I'm the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. And you're watching us on OBBM Network TV. And I got to tell you, this is episode 23. It's amazing how far we've come with our programs. So right now I'm going to go to the national information. The national information is from theguardian.org on August 27, 2025. Fulton County Election Board faces $10,000 a day fine for not appointing Republicans. So the Democrats voted against appointing 2 candidates known for their election denialism and voter registration challenges. Ooh, somebody who actually wants to do their jobs. Fulton County Commission in Georgia is being fined $10,000 a day for violating a court order to appoint 2 Republicans associated with Trump-aligned groups. TheGuardian.org. That's what this is coming from. Okay. County charter states commissioners, quote, shall, we love that word, shall, appoint 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats nominated by their respective chairpersons for 2 terms. Judge David Emerson issued an order requiring the board to appoint them. So the Democrats are already told, no, you have to appoint them. And the Democrats have said, forget it, not gonna. So Emerson found that the Democratic commissioners have, quote, been stubbornly litigious. Litigious. Boy, you ever have one of those words that's a little difficult? Anyway, and acted in bad faith in its conduct prior to this litigation by a failure to comply with clear local legislation which forced the plaintiffs to file this action, unquote. Emerson ruling states. So Emerson also awarded the attorney fees for the Republican plaintiffs. The Fulton County Republican Party chair, Stephanie Andres, nominated Jason Frazier for a term and renominated Julie Adams to serve another term. Fulton County has 7 elected commissioners, 5 of whom are Democrats. The lawsuit only named those 5: Dana Barrett, Mo Ivory, Kahujad Abadur Rahman, say that 3 times fast, Marvin Arrington, and Chair Rob Pitts. Now, Pitts, Rahman, and Arrington did not vote on the appointment, leaving Barrett and Ivory to vote against it in a 2-2 tie. So they're being fined in Georgia $10,000 a day. My question is, where's that money going to come from? I certainly hope it's not from the taxpayers, because once again, litigation going on because the Democrats don't want to follow the rules. It's pretty simple. Your Republican chairs and your Democratic chairs pick 2 people that they want on the board. And they're going through this. This is absolutely ridiculous. Especially since we were just talking about how Georgia's making incredible headway with cleaning their voter rolls and everything that they need to do. And oh my goodness, God forbid you would actually have people on there who have challenged voters that should not be voting in the Georgia election. So Georgia, a few years ago, in case some of you aren't aware, has the best way of challenging people. So say, for instance, you know your neighbor sold his house 8 years ago and other people are living there, but you just happen to notice that he or she is still voting from their former address and they don't live there. The other family bought the house, you know? So you file a complaint with their election commission, and within 10 days, they have to have a hearing. And I believe a few years ago, when this first came as a law that they were pushing for this to happen, it was like 100,000 challenges. Granted, there was a lot of challenges, but it also got to remove a lot of people who should not have been voting. So, Georgia, you really got to get on it here. And, $10,000 a day? Oh, my goodness. So, our vote notes for this week is 5th Court of Appeals overturns block on Texas ballot harvesting Bill SB 1. So what we're going to have on our website is you're going to be able to click on the link for the vote notes, and you're going to be able to read that story. Again, as I had mentioned in the beginning, there was going to be extra things on Georgia, and this is extra things on Texas. There's a lot of movement going on. There's a lot of different things that are happening out there right now. One of the other things we wanted to let people know, because I had some people say, why are we reading other stories? Because we want to educate everyone on what's going on across the country. We only have, a short time to be able to pull the stories we think are the ones that we should let you know about. And we're always citing where we got the stories from. So you can go to those stories or go to those newspapers or those TV stations or the Secretary of State's newsletters that you can go and read the rest for yourself. One of the things that I always do is the headlines. I keep the headlines the same. I don't change a word in the headlines when I'm talking to you about them. Again, when I'm doing my bullet points, I may take out some of the flowery language that's used or some of the crazy words. But as you saw in the America First Legal, like I said, it had some words that were trigger words, but I support what they're doing. And we all should be paying attention to what's going on. It's a great thing when everyone in America who are US citizens are able to vote. And make sure your vote counts. And a lot of times in the past years, the votes honestly have been diluted. So let's get all the illegals off the voter rolls. Let's take all the people who have decided that they wanted to vote in more than one state or more than one county. And yes, there are thousands of them, thousands. And we're doing at Fight Voter Fraud what we can to help the legal authorities remove those people from the voter rolls that they're voting in two states. And whatever the legal things happen afterwards, great. Do you really want somebody or one of your neighbors to be voting 3 times? It's happening. I know people are saying, oh, no, it's not. Yes, it is. It's just not hasn't been brought out because it is so difficult to find the information. Especially when you have some states that are removing vote history. There's changes that are being made. And I'm not just throwing this out there saying hypothetical. They are. We've seen it. That's part of what we do in our dives for Fight Voter Fraud is to prove the people who should not be on the voter rolls because they've moved, died, in some cases never even existed. So we're seeing them. We're not out there, chanting all the time, oh, look at us, look at what we're doing. But I'll tell you, we're doing a lot and we're getting a lot of support now from the states that we've never gotten in the past. We got a great crew here. What you should do is go to our website, fightvoterfraud.org. Check it out. Donate. That would be the most helpful thing anybody could do because then we can hire more of our researchers to do more of the deep dives. And we're looking at all the states. Even though I'm from Connecticut, we are looking at every single state. And the stuff that we're seeing is just incredible. But we'll get there. And that's why we support the Department of Justice, and they're trying to find where the issues are. Is it something within the system itself that hasn't been updated in 25 years? Is it a nefarious person who just so happens to work in a particular department that decides to start signing up people that don't exist? It's a whole bunch of different things that are going on out there. We need everybody's help. Everybody can do something. If you can't donate to our organization, that's fine. Check the street where you live. Find out who's living in the houses and see if some of those people have moved. And if they've moved, challenge them as not being residents anymore. That's the least you can do for your local elections. A lot of people are focused on the big picture, right? Oh, it's, for president and Senate and Congress. But you know where most of the decisions are made in your town or county? It's at your town or county level. Who's on your board of education? Who's on your planning and zoning? Who's your mayor? Who's your common council? Who's your dog catcher? All of these make a difference. And you can actually participate. You, yeah, I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Even if you're living from home, just check even your next door neighbors on either side. Okay? Do that. And you can make a difference. And I don't care what party you're from. Honestly, I don't. What I truly believe is we should have one vote for one legal voter. That's it. And under that legal voter means U.S. citizen. If you want to vote in our elections, go through the process to become a U.S. citizen legally. That's all we're asking. And we can go from there. As many of you have realized, yes, I do have some personal opinions. I've been around 6.5 years, and I've seen a lot. And every time I think I've seen everything, something else comes up that you can't believe what you're seeing. And we've been working really hard. And my team is on a mission. And if any of you are interested in also helping out or want to know who the double registered or double voters are in your county, in your state, in your town, go to our website, fill out the form, and we will send you that information. We do an analysis. We also ask that you do your own due diligence. And if you want to know how we do our own due diligence, feel free to send us an email at info@fightvoterfraud.org, and we'll be able to hook you up. You can make a difference, really. So now I am going to go to the trivia question of the week. Trivia question. Who was the longest serving U.S. senator? Anybody know? The answer is Robert Byrd, who served for just over 50 years in the U.S. Senate. And that's the current record. Well, quite honestly, great that you made a record. Not so great. We should have term limits. 50 years is way too long. We need term limits in the House and in the Senate. We don't want people making a career out of being a senator or a congressman, because then they forget where they came from and who their constituents are. They should always be able to tell us what they have done for us as U.S. citizens. So I'm hoping that's one of the things that comes about in the next year or two out of our federal government would be term limits. We need it, honestly. So I want to thank everybody who has been listening to our program, Sinkowitz on OBBM Network TV. Again, we're just trying to help educate everyone on election integrity, and that's what we're about. Each week, as you see, we have different states. One of the things you may have realized that I have stayed away from the redistricting. There's enough of this going on out there that I'm staying away from redistricting right now with every state, with all the things that are coming up. We still certainly have more than enough that's going on out there, as long as Mark Elias is busy filing lawsuits against things like only U.S. citizens being able to vote. Think about all the tax dollars that are being wasted on this. Come on, let's get some common sense, everybody, please. Okay, so I want to thank everyone who has been watching our program for this week. I'm Linda Sinkowitz. You've been watching OBBM Network TV. And next week, you're going to love my guest. Thank you.